mediocre at best. Hey everyone, welcome to Maude's Book Club. We're going to talk sci-fi, but the kind of sci-fi where you want to question your existence. How cool is this? Recursion by Blake Crouch. Is there any housekeeping that we have to do for Maude's Book Club? 1, I got my wisdom teeth taken out 2 days ago, just the top ones. I seem to be doing fine. Thanks for asking. I tried to show the pre-game chat. Didn't work. But I'll allow it. But yeah, bear with me. So far, so good. We are going, yay, first try. We are going to be, oh, thank you, Avery. 24 months. Thanks for using Prime. Appreciate ya. Avery had a recursion dream. Lovely. The kind of books that sit with you. Robin, thank you for resubscribing for 26 months. Jay Buntrock, thanks for 31. Catch did it for 30. Total of 33. You missed 3 months. We won't bring it up this one. It's just, it says it. It says it. It reminds you every time. I think that's cruel.
I was busy, and I don't think you were streaming for those 3 months anyways.
Possibly not. Likely. Very likely. Terry, thank you for 39 months with 47 total. I just don't even know if I've been streaming for 47 months. So that's just like really impressive. Has it been 47 months? I started 2020. No, there you go. KP Dub says he's been following for 3 years, 11 months, 8 days, 8 hours, 17 minutes, and 20 seconds. Piccolo, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Almost 4 years. Yikes. We've got 2 books that we've just announced for August. We're starting things a little bit later because I had a lot of travel for work. Hey, 28 months. Thank you, Darren. I gave you like a double A, 1R when I said your name, Sam. I switched it. Maybe that's like your multiverse. There's Darren and then there's Darren. Who's cooler? We don't know. And that's why these books mess with you because it's the not knowing. Kate, I saw that you wrote in the Discord that your anxiety is the what if type of anxiety. And these books really don't help with that because anything and everything is a possibility and none of it. So, whoa, have fun with that, everyone. The 2 books that we're going to be doing this, I forgot that I had. I'm so sorry. Can everyone hear my washing machine? Fuck.
We all hear the song. We all remember you singing on TikTok.
No, this is a new one. This has 2 verses and a chorus. It is still not done, and now my song is done. Okay, so now it's
Forget if that's the LG song or the Samsung song.
That's Samsung.
It's got to be.
That's Samsung. It's obnoxious. I don't think a jingle like that should go for more than 5 seconds, 10 max. That was 2 verses and a chorus. Like every single time you do washing, you'd like resent being clean. Like, what are you doing, Samsung? Oh, it does have sung in the name. It fucking sung, didn't it? Sam sung his last song. No, okay. I'm getting distracted. This is the mood I'm in. I had a little bit of chocolate before, but I'm not allowed to. Thank you. I'll take it. We are doing 2 books. Technically 3 because we're in August 1st. But for August, we're going to be doing a main book and a bonus book. The main book's going to be in the second half of the month, so we've got a little bit of time to get into that and digest. That's going to be the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. It's been on my TBR for quite some time. I've heard great things. Has anyone started? No, because we've got so many fucking books. We've got this book and now we've got another book after that. I swore. I'm sorry. Darren read it years ago. K-Free says, yes, I've started. KB Dub said a main book. When are we doing a Michigan book? Get out. Leave the room. Count to 10 and then come back in. Oh, he did.
Take a lap, Ken.
Just take a lap for that one. Robin says working on Dresden first. Yes, because that is our bonus book. We've got 1 week starting today to read book number 5 of the Dresden Files series. We've done the previous 4 books over the last 2.5 years with iterations of Maude or Geek Bombs book clubs. This is a series that I've successfully gotten members into. One of them we've had to have an intervention for. Terry is now our resident. He's like, what? Why the shade? No, it's amazing. You have now become our resident expert on all things Dresden. If you are reading them, I love you. If you are listening to them, you love me, because I have gotten you onto James Masters, who's done an exceptional job narrating this series. Now, can you read all 4 books before the 5th one? In 8 days, you'd have to be a psycho, but I do believe in you. Or jump in the memory chair and just keep giving yourself more and more time, and you'll be able to retain the information of each of the books as well until your brain melts. So that's one way to do it. Chances are you've already jumped into some of them and joined us over the years for them. Vanessa the Porg says, do you need to read all 4 prior Dresden books? I've only read the first ... I'd like to defer to our resident Dresden expert who's already thinking about the answer. Do you think you need to have read books 2, 3, and 4 to get book 5?
Not really, because Jim Butcher is good at like repeating stuff for new readers, like the fact that
it's quite episodic. So one thing that happens in book 2 doesn't really get addressed again till like book 6, and if it does, there's a bit of a recap.
He always reference past stuff when it comes up on, like, let's say we have Billy coming in. Well, he referenced to
Billy the
I
werewolf.
met him, and the alphas. So it just refers, like, he keeps repeating at the beginning of the book that tech and magic doesn't work together in every book. So if you're not so then read the past book, you're not going to be lost.
It's quite episodic. As Toaster Poster says, it's not that daunting. I think you'll be able to get it. I think also if you just read a bit of a summary of 2, 3, and 4, you can dive straight into 5. It is an easy read. It's fun. It's a supernatural universe that is in modern day
I would
Chicago.
say for book 5, for what happens in the book, read Grave Peril book 3.
Ooh, book 3. Why? What is the common thing that we are exploring again? Is it Michael?
No, it's Ortega, the vampire.
Who is it?
The Red Court. He's fighting, or like at the beginning of the book, he gets Ortega asking him for a duel to resolve what happens in book 3.
Got it. Susie says, how many books are in Recursion? Standalone. We did a standalone for this one. Blake Crouch will tackle sort of like a potentially in near future science, and then put the fiction in that science. It's a lot of fun. Avery says, stolen church artifacts and vampires? What is this? Memnoch the Devil by Anne Rice? Yes, but with lots more men. I like Dresden. I have a fun time, and I think I have James Masters' bias. Full Moon has been my favorite Dresden so far, says Jay Bunchrock. A little catch up on Full Moon. That was a bunch of werewolves, or were they? There was an artifact that could turn people into shapeshifters of the wolf variety, and it was a bit of a murder mystery. So at the end of the day, Dresden, Harry Dresden. Harry is a wizard. You're a wizard, Harry, but he's from Chicago. He's a little bit older and he's a lot taller. He is the only wizard in the White Pages. That's a 90s joke because that's when the books were written. And he helps people with sort of small, somewhat menial magic. And then, of course, he works with the Chicago Police Department, where some bigger murder mysteries happen. And they're of the supernatural variety also. Susie says, I've seen Dresden Files on Sci-Fi. It lasted a whopping 1 season. And it had so much potential. But they didn't make him a talking skull, did they? They did Bob dirty. Dirty. Did I say dirty? Dirty. In the Dresden Files. KB Dub says, all Dresden book titles seem to be 2 words, each with the same number of letters in them. Shut up. Is that true? Wow. Are they all 5-letter words? What is this, like just a Dresden Wordle? Let's go.
No, some are if there's either 4 letters and 4 letters, or 5 and 5, 4 and 4, 5 and 5, but the same amount of letters in each of the 2 words.
I mean, Summer Nights like 6 and 6.
Wait, Nights with a K though.
Yeah, that's 6 letters.
That's
Six
six.
and six.
Summer night is 4.
K-N-I-G-H-T-S.
6 letters and 6 letters.
No, that's 6 and 7. If it's got the K on it. Oh, and then there's changes, says Chris, who wants to drop the mic, I believe.
Summer night,
Metaphorical.
singular, no S. It's 6 letters and 6 letters.
Oh, my bad. It's night, singular.
So
Chris, do you want to test
Recursion.
out your mic? Not during the shows. In chat during the shows. Got it. Terry says, for new members that are joining in, if you're doing Death Mask, I would recommend reading book 3, Grave Peril, to understand the recurring part of the book. The main story is a standalone and introduces new enemies for Harry. So, Recursion. Well, hold on. Does anyone have a blurb about 5th season?
What happened to the first 4 seasons?
Question. We'll find out. Coming soon. Hi, Snores. Lovely to have you on the show. How are you? Hi. Have you read Recursion?
Hopefully my mic is working. Yes, I have.
Yeah. Sounds really good. Did you read it just for book club or had you already read it?
Just for book club.
Oh, fantastic. Mike is sounding fantastic. I think fantastic is going to be my word for this book club. Let's see how many times I say it. I'm on 2. Just with 1 sentence. Well done. Terry says, Changes is my top book of the series. It's the reason that I got James Masters to sign my copy of the book. We already talked about Recursion last week. Ooh, that's going to mess with me. Let's talk about the thing that we forgot during the previous 4 times we covered Recursion. Yeah, this time I feel like we'll do a really good show. This time, for sure. I've had to go back into dead memories
until
so that
we
you
all relive a nuclear apocalypse 4 times.
Like, that's inevitable. Is going to end in a nuclear apocalypse. Yeah, like that's inevitable. Someone made dinner party conversation with me, and they said, "Did you know that as soon as there's a legitimate nuclear threat, whoever fires first, the world is basically ending in 90 minutes. Within 90 minutes, the whole world will be done. Except Australia doesn't have any nuclear missiles, so then it would not be deemed a threat by the other places that do have nuclear missiles. So if you are in Australia, you might last the longest. But I actually think that that's the premise of Mad Max. And that's why it's very post-apocalyptic. And people have just survived nuclear
Have
war.
you ever seen the old internet video? It's the ye old internet video of the end of the world.
No, but Charlie bit his finger.
It describes exactly that about
Oh, wow.
all of us nuking each other, and it says, except Australia, but they'll be dead soon. Fucking kangaroo.
Well, yeah, because how long would it take the fallout to reach them? So you'd have as long as it took that, but it'd be a slower death.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think it would just be like my organs would fail and my eyes would bleed.
Maybe, because the fallout could be severely diluted by the time it gets to Australia, depending on where it comes from.
Who wants to Google
Sure,
that?
so yeah, that could do that, but then it's like you'd have generational deaths because of all the cancer, right? So
yeah,
potentially.
It's like Chernobyl time.
Is it better to? Is it just better to die first instead of that?
I mean, I live in America, so that's my answer. I chose already. Hold on,
you live in
haven't
LA,
we done this before?
which is 100% a target.
100%. Have we not had this conversation where it's like we've spoken about this because we're fun when we chat. We have had the conversation of like, if as soon as that first nuke goes, you've got 90 minutes. How would you spend that time? We get dark. So become a member today. Patreon.com/Maude'sBookClub. If you have an existential crisis, do it with a group. Everyone welcome. No wrong answers unless it's wrong. Unless it's like wrong, then no. But like, dismember today. No wrong answers.
I swear to God, we've said dismember today before too. Like, this is a whole deja vu already.
No, really?
Everything always. Yes, this entire conversation has happened before.
Oh dear.
So
we are
recursion.
Recursion. We like to start off book clubs especially when it's the end of the book, we rate it out of 5. Out of 5 nuclear weapon. No, out of 5. Let me know what you thought. If you've read it and you're in the comments, I will read out your rating. Not only out of 5, but give me a sentence. If you liked it, why you didn't like it, what you loved about it. Tell me a little something, and I'll read it out. Who would like to go first? Tim, you said 2, but it wasn't a 2. So what is your score out of 5?
I'm somewhere between a solid 3.5 and a soft 4.
Solid 3.5 to a soft 4 for this one.
Yeah.
Why that score?
I thought it was very well written and it was engaging. I just had issues with the book as a whole. Certain
Get
things
into those
that
questions.
made me mad, and others, yeah. And we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie, wah. Not a fan of this book at all. Is this the first one we've had with Maude's book club?
Yeah, I just wasn't vibing with this book, and like my suspension of disbelief just wasn't there. I'm just like, no, this would never happen. No. That's why I got a 1.
It just shut it down. I love it. There's a 1 floating around on my screen. That was a very, very stern 1. I do not recommend other Blake Crouch books for you though, if that's the case. Minimal romance. I mean, we can go into that relationship as well, just so we can have some ship conversation. That is the lowest score that I have seen. Vaden, 3.75 out of 5. This is your second time reading it too, right?
No, that was my first.
Oh, it's first? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like the book. It was enjoyable.
Was it your first?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'll
Not
check my
bad.
nose afterwards, but
Yeah. You're shrugging.
oh, basically, I mean, I enjoy the book. I thought it's really good. It's really good as like a thought experiment. That's put that way. I didn't find the plot to make a lot of sense. Really, I feel like the characters made decisions that really made no sense, and like even the idea of like being able to go back in time because one person decided to go back in memory mean everyone goes back doesn't fit at all. Like it was just. And I feel like in that case it's I'm like Katie, where I'm like that's not possible in any way, but like it's a cool idea. So I like the way that I just wish they kind of resolve things a little more interestingly, and we get I don't know. Just I feel like there was more to explore that wasn't.
We're gonna get into the science of it for sure, because what doesn't make sense to some makes sense to others. That's great. Accidental Lotus has joined us. Not only following, but first time chatting, saying, hello, it's a 4 out of 5 for me. We'll take that 4 out of 5. Vanessa says 2 out of 5. It was one of those months where I did not need suicide depictions and a whole lot of sadness in a book. It essentially became a really, really dark Groundhog Day. Thank you so much for the reminder. There are trigger warnings with this. It does center a lot around suicide, not ideation in a way, but like just not able to process enough memories in a head or the way that happens. And I will want to get into that because I do think it's a very interesting concept and hopefully something that we'll never have to go through, but the psychology behind the concepts in this book. But you're right, Vanessa. It's not light and fluffy. And if you needed a light and fluffy month, I apologize. You did not get it, but head straight back to Dungeon Crawler Carl if you haven't already. That'll be the best cure for you for sure. Susie said it also reminds me of 12 Monkeys, the series in the movie. Susie giving it it's like TNT's Lazarus Project. Susie, you gave it a 4.5 out of 5 as well. You're a big fan of this one. I didn't read it, says Brush Kid, but maybe there's a different Brush Kid in a different life that did read it. I'm going to say that. Where was that with homework? I didn't, but another more in a multiverse likely did. Good on them. Butterfly Effect, says Lisa. It is a little bit like that. This season might not be the best cure for this book. Oh, good. We know how to pick them. Well, I think we're changing Dungeon Crawler Carl to next month instead of December so that we don't have to go into Lightbringer after just like bam, bam, bam. Also, I just want to take a second to really appreciate Andy Weir, who writes science fiction from a hopeful lens. Oh, isn't that sweet? We just need that from time to time. KB Dubs, 4.5 out of 5. Couldn't put it down. But it was a little unbelievable at times. Full sentence, no way in.
So I really enjoyed it. It kept me engaged the whole time. Read the last 180 pages last night in one sitting before bed. But yeah, just their decisions, the whole science behind it, how one person's memory changes everyone theoretically in the universe's perspective until they all catch up to that time was just a bit much on the sciencey side for me. Didn't believe it.
Okay. I feel like it's his rules. If he says this is what happens, I'm like, no questions. Sounds great. I can see how that's going to impact the story. Oh, that made it a lot worse. Ooh, that's no good. Consequences. Tim said I clocked the last 200 pages last night. So people found it an easy read in terms of being enraptured, not wanting to put it down, being able to consume it. There were wormholes. We just didn't see them. Oh. Maddie saying, yeah, hitting them with that sadness back to back. Welcome to Maude's Book Club. J Bunbrock, 4 out of 5. You liking this one?
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. I was even able to pay attention to the audiobook. It kept me enraptured, and it suffers from anything that tackles the timey-wimey. There's always going to be issues, but I kind of felt by the 5th book, the author just said, fuck it. They're on for the ride. They're just going to go along with it now, and let's go. And I was like, okay, I'm there.
Yeah, book 5, Pandora's Box. Holy. It's open now. You cannot put the lid on it. Chris is saying a 3.5. It's a more technical version of Butterfly Effect. Kate gave it a 5. You want to talk about what you liked? That's a perfect score.
Well, I mean, I love Crouch's books. Dark Matter is one of my favorite books ever. But I liked that everyone is saying it's super unbelievable that one person's memory would affect everyone else. But I like the message of that, because usually when we have time travel stories, it's one person and they're just watching future or past happen. They're like a voyeur, or they're it's almost like they're kind of it might be invisible, but this, it's everyone's decisions affect everyone else, which is a metaphor for real life. The decisions you make in life affect those around you, and the decisions that other people make affect you. So I liked that it went a different route than other time travel stories that are just one person travels back and it's everyone else doesn't even notice they're there, or it's only about the one person. Yeah, it's
it's technically what happened the first time, because there's only one time.
Yeah, and Toaster Poster is because the rules were consistent in this book, and it I find sometimes a lot of the time when there's time travel stuff, it gets it doesn't follow its own rules, and it gets a little plot holey and stuff, because it's really hard to correctly write time travel stuff because it gets so complicated. But I thought that he did a really, really, really good job in having it be it felt very tight.
We have a graph as well of the time of events, even though it looks linear. We have to suspend that it is linear, but for the sake of us computing it, we do have that, which we will go through. If you're in show chat or if you're in the Discord under Recursion, you can see that, because True Scorn posted that in there for all of us. Club Jiggle says, hello, all sorry I'm being late. That's okay, welcome. Late is better than never. That's my motto. Or is there such thing as late because time is not linear? So were you late to something that would indicate? See how long that's how long I last. And then I'm like, nah.
Early for tomorrow's gaming stream. That's all.
What's tomorrow though? Tomorrow seems like it indicates further away. That's when I'm just like, cool.
Come on, Maude.
Don't need it.
There's no tomorrow. There's just a
ever presence.
No, well, I'll just say a future past.
Future past. Time is the only thing stopping everything happening at once. Yeah, okay. And if you're late, you're fired. Tomorrow was yesterday. Alien Y? I am back. I am back. Wait, I said Alien Y, didn't I? Alien who? Anyway, who hasn't told me their score out of 5? Lisa? Did I see 4 or a 5 from you?
I gave it a 5. I really enjoyed it. I definitely just sped through it on the audiobook in like 2.5 days. But I really like his writing because it just hooks me pretty much right away. So I was in for it. I don't care if there were inconsistencies or anything. I enjoyed the ride. So, and I really liked the ending actually, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
We will. We absolutely will. Joe Bartlett Rock says this makes me want to watch Edge of Tomorrow, which is also called Live, Die, Repeat again. See, one thing can be 2 things. Don't get me started on bi-weekly and bi-monthly. I think that's the one that makes me the most irate. One word cannot mean 2 different times. One word which is specifying time cannot mean accurately 2 different sets of time. So if I'm saying bi-weekly and it could be twice a week and also every 2 weeks, no, you cannot have, it has to be, I did say that is what got me, and without fail, you saw that get to me. Good. That just.
But they do mean 2 different things.
What's bi-weekly mean?
Bi-weekly is every other week. Bi-monthly is twice a month, because there's sometimes 5 weeks in a month.
Hold on. What?
She's right. Bi-weekly is every other week, once every 2 weeks.
And it doesn't matter what the month is.
Whereas bi-monthly is twice a month. I get paid bi-monthly, the 1st and the 15th.
So bi-weekly and bi-monthly are the same.
No, they're not.
I don't like this.
They're not, because some months have 5 weeks.
Yes.
But then people have used bi-weekly as twice a week.
Well, then they're wrong.
Okay, as long as someone's wrong. I just need someone to be wrong with this.
Like Tim said, he gets paid bi-monthly.
Twice a week.
Paid 24
twice
times
a week
a year.
is twice weekly. Bi-weekly is every other week.
What's
get
a
paid
fortnight?
bi-weekly. I get paid
2 weeks.
Fortnight is 20 days.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's 2 weeks.
20 days.
So why have bi-monthly if we can just call it a fortnight? Okay.
Fortnight is 20 days.
No, it's not. Absolutely not. All right. Okay.
Webster's has 2 definitions for bi-monthly: occurring every 2 months or twice a month. So it can also mean every 2 months.
That's accurate.
So one word specifying a time means 2 times, 2 different times. I am irate about that. I
would just say, I don't think it's 2 different times. It's 2 different recurrences.
Yeah.
But you're not setting time.
But when you say it's bi-monthly, I have to specify. Is it twice a month or every 2 months?
You would have to specify in that instance.
Which makes it a not very useful word, unfortunately.
Vanessa's in payroll, so whatever Vanessa says is correct. And that is bi-weekly is 26 times per year, bi-monthly is 24. Damn, that sounds really smart. I first think of bi-monthly as every 2 months, says Darren.
Thunder Bernie.
All right. The rest of the stream could be about this as far as I'm concerned, but we don't have time for that. What is time? All right, we're back on track. Lisa gave it a perfect 5. Kate gave it a 5. Who else gave it a 5? Me. I gave it a 5. Avery, you gave it a 5. I want to hear your thoughts because you liked this one.
Yeah, so the main reason I gave it a 5 is because I had such a strong reaction to it. The fact that, the written word can cause me to react like that means that it was done really well, I think, even though I didn't necessarily enjoy having that reaction to it. So that's the main reason I gave it a 5. Yeah, but I also really enjoyed it. Like everybody said, like Blake Crouch's writing is really engaging. It's like he takes complicated things and does them in a way that's simple. Like he writes it so it feels simple, even though it's not simple, and makes it easy to get into, especially when you're not always into sci-fi. So I really enjoyed that as well. Even though I probably wouldn't recommend this book to very many people because I'm like, unless you want to suffer while you're reading, but I still really enjoyed it. So
I recommend this book. I like the fact that it's really thought provoking and challenging and gets in your head. And there's Zelda. It makes you think and it kind of like scrambles the brain a little bit. I'm a big fan of that. I'm like Kate. I've loved every single Blake Crouch book. He's got 3 main books, and so you've got Dark Matter, which we've tackled with Nerdist's book club about 2.5 years ago, and that's being made or is already out on Apple TV, I believe. And that is essentially multiversal science. So in the near future, a scientist has figured out a way for like interdimensional travel in a way. And the first few chapters of the book just had me absolutely hooked. Essentially, like, what if you found out that another version of you in another multiverse had made better decisions than you had? Would you want to take over their life? And I just thought that was fantastic stuff. The other one that I've just read recently is Upgrade, and Blake starts looking into DNA and gene manipulation. So how can we tweak DNA that we currently have to make you immune from disease, from cancer, to strengthen your bone density, to have really fast reflexes and increase your brain capacity? So I feel like every single one of these, what I've learned from it is whoever has the most money has the power, has the access. And that's really scary as well. So that one was kind of going into sort of like superhumans, and how you had to keep upgrading to be on par with those who were also taking it, and full on. Ethics is a massive conversation with these as well. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. So this one we're talking about time manipulation. So our 2 main protagonists, we have Barry and we have Helena. Helena is a scientist who's been motivated due to her mother's Alzheimer's condition to try to bolster memories. So instead of losing your memories when you're older, instead of having a degenerative brain disease, which is making you incapable of any memory whatsoever, she is trying to code memories so that you can re-access them. What she has ended up doing, mixed in with other research and science and technology, is if the memory is strong enough using sensory triggers, pleasure, pain, whatever it is, that moment can be filed in a way, and that memory can be accessed through equipment that I don't need to understand because it's not real yet. It's the yet part. But essentially, you're able to go back to that memory and basically start that timeline again from that point. The consequence in this one is quite incredible, because when you access that timeline from whatever part you went back, as soon as you reach the point in time when you'd initially gone back, everyone in that timeline, whether indirectly, mainly directly affected by it, will have memories that basically like are reinserted. So all of a sudden you're minding your own business and then bam, you remember a completely different life. You remember that you had a child. You remember that you had a family. The memory feels like sort of black and white. So it's not real, but it felt real. You were there. You lived it. It's a lived experience. That wasn't the life that you have been previously living. I like the consequence part of this. I really do. I think that the way that Blake trickles in this technology is that it becomes something called FMS, and it's a false memory syndrome, where you start remembering things that didn't actually happen. And scientists are trying to formulate an understanding behind why it is. But the fact that they're trying to trace it, and they're like, we've noticed that people who know each other or relatives will all be like lumped in together. So you're seeing the first initial responses to someone using the memory chair, as we're calling it, even though it's not factually correct. But when they're tampering with something that pertains to their life only, there is a mild ripple effect, but the ripple effect's there. And what we see throughout the book is the more people using it, and the bigger the situation that they're trying to manipulate, the bigger the ripple, which is why we're talking about the butterfly effect being sort of in the same vein as what we're talking about. I guess my first question. Oh, sorry, Katie. I muted you from my account because we had a little bit of background noise, but I will unmute you so you get. There you go. We've done it all. Good. I guess my first question, apart from did you like the book, is, and we've touched upon it already, does the science kind of feel sound? Was the science enough for you to believe it, to understand it, and to not get bogged down or taken out of the story? Was it done in a way? Thumbs up from Tim. Thumbs down from Vaden. Thumbs down from Snores. Thumbs up from Nicole and Lisa. Where are you at, Jay? Thumbs up. Terry? You didn't read it. He's just here for a good time. And I was going to say, and a long time, but that's irrelevant. There is no such thing as long time. There's no such thing as time. Oh, I love it. Chris gave it a thumbs up. Frito gave it a thumbs up. Keep It Up says, I was just happy enough that I wasn't out of the story, but I was not happy with the science. Will Poss, hello, Will, says it was good enough. Anyone else notice the device used to map the memories is Maude's initials? No? What, Zelda, get on your bed. Thank you, darling. What's the acronym? Memory.
It's MEG, but I forget what it stands for.
Maud Elizabeth Garrett.
Funny, it actually reminds me because it's the same or similar name as a short version of his daughter's name.
Megan, yeah. Fun fact, if you're not in America, we don't say Megan, it's Megan.
I also noticed that and thought it was significant that there was Meg and Megan.
Yeah, interesting. I don't think Helena's got anything to do with that. And everyone's calling him Barry in the comments when we were reading it. Why Barry? Was that an in-joke that I missed? Just a way to emasculate a man called Barry real fast is you just call him Barry.
That's
Very
just
good.
American. That's just American speak, is all that is.
How else do you say it?
Barry?
Barry. Barry.
Oh, there's no difference between the E and the A here. Yeah, Barry and Barry.
Like I said, it's just American speak.
I want everyone to
Barry,
hear this
B-U-R-Y, B-U-R-Y is pronounced the same. It's all Barry.
Okay, Barry, Barry, okay, Barry and Barry are the same. I need a moment for that one. I buried him underground. He's been buried. Damn it!
You buried Barry near the berries.
God, America, like sometimes you just
get your shit together.
Like, you just opted out of that one. Also, shout out to all Craigs and Gregs because that sounds the same as well. Barry, Barry, and Barry. No, Barry, Barry, and Barry. Barry. Okay. What were we talking about? I got buried. Sean and Sean. Yeah, but that's the same name. It's just a different spelling. The other ones are completely different words. There's a few of them in the American dialect where I'm just like, Craigs and Gregs. Everyone calls it Tara. It's Tara. Maude.
Now,
Even my name.
Tara
I
and,
didn't stand a chance.
Tara and Tara, I have heard different people introduce themselves here in the U.S. with those different pronunciations. You try to remember and call them how they want to be pronounced.
Someone in America says their name is Tara. Rock and roll to that Tara, who has just the biggest mission ahead of them. I'm actually grateful that my name didn't 180, where I'm like, hi, my name's Tara. And they're like, okay, Tara. And I'm like, I'm not. So Tara in American sounds like terror, the feeling, in Australian. Can you imagine if like I showed up in this country and all of a sudden people were calling me Terror? I'd be devastated. It's nearly as bad as being Maude. Ugh. Maude is like you say mud, but long.
Meg is short for magnetoencephalography. Jesus Christ. Magnetoencephalography.
Oh, why didn't you just say?
Yeah, I don't know. For this word with 50 letters.
Magnetoencephalography. That sounds like a Sesame Street character. We call it Magneto. I like that. Terrible. Out.
Take a lap.
I actually really liked that one. Okay, so we're a little bit split. Going back to the science and technology, majority of people were like, it was sound, it was explained well, it didn't take me out of the story. Vaden, you gave a thumbs down. Why weren't you liking the science?
I mean, the science doesn't make sense. Like, if one person goes back to a previous memory of theirs, I was expecting to be like, oh, we're gonna find out later on that it's a whole mass solution, and that everything they were thinking about was happening was actually not happening. They were just people thought they were going back in time, but they weren't the entire time. Instead, one person doing this literally changes everyone in the universe's timeline, which that doesn't make any sense.
It depends on what you do. I think it does.
Yes, it does.
It depends on what you do. So, Vaden, what I still believe that you're doing is seeing time as linear. And it's not. Let's think of it as this ripple effect, right? So someone does go back in time and they change something and there's a small ripple because they do one little thing. You know, they stop their daughter from getting hit by a car. And it just, it has a little bit of a blip. But like people in Australia have no idea that this has happened. People in England have no idea this has happened. Anyone who's heard of Meg knows that this has happened. When they start doing bigger and bigger things, you are impacted by it. So now you have both events through a lived experience. So it's like a jellyfish. I've already done a jellyfish GIF. We do not need another one.
Well,
it can't not affect other people.
What you're saying?
It can't.
That's only true if they're going back in time, but they're not going back in time at all. All they're doing is going back to one person's memory, which then triggers this whole thing. Which that's part of doesn't make any sense. They're not doing time travel at all. They're really just going back to one person's memory. But
they're changing events that other people remember.
But
because think about it. Barry's wife remembers Megan dying, and then Barry goes back and changes that event.
Okay, but
and then the timeline continues, and then the timeline continues as if that event didn't happen, and that's why she doesn't remember it right up until they catch up.
Okay, but like so, for example, let's say they didn't.
So when he went back in time.
Okay, but let's say they didn't return to memory. Let's say they were able to change someone's memories, period. Like not even going back or doing anything fancy like that. They just changed a person's memories using science. That wouldn't cause the entire timeline of everyone in the world to change.
Yeah, it would.
It would definitely
it has
not.
to.
Yeah, it would. It's just we wouldn't have a reaction to it because we didn't have those memories in our brain, but it would still affect us.
We wouldn't have a reaction, but it would change everything.
Yeah,
it's literally the butterfly effect, where a butterfly flaps swings in Africa and a hurricane hits Florida.
Hold on, one at a time. Catch, I think you're finished. Go, Kate. No, you're good.
Someone right now is doing something in the world that is going to affect all of us, and we have no clue. No clue. And it could fizzle out. It could affect us. So timeline could be changed there. We would still have no idea. They only have a reaction if it's directly affecting something that they have tangibly in their brain. But if it's something that only you're just existing in the world, you would never know if the timeline was changed. We could be having this conversation again and we would never know because the person who lives in China who changed it so their kid doesn't die in a car accident, it's how would we know that?
Yeah, we're not impacted by that, which is why, I like that this book shows the transgression of impact of the decisions that are made. A couple of questions happening here, though, and I like that we've got a group discussion. Hi, Baz. Thank you, Jay Buntrock, dropping 5 gift subs there to, Lotus got one. The Void Between. Oh, apt name for this discussion. The void between got a. I don't think that's a coincidence. You got a gift sub. Alchemist got one as well. Creative Hubs and What Cats Know. You all got gifted a sub thanks to Jay Buntrock. If you're in the chat and you are having a gander right now, make sure you say thank you to Jay Buntrock. Thank you. I will too. Thank you so much for doing that. Very, very sweet. We had a new follower as well. New subscribe. Oh, what? I don't think that's all. Well, that's okay. Ignore all that. Will Poss earlier was saying, let me find the comment. If someone's memory changes, how could everyone else's stay the same? Then it would be impossible for that person's memory to have changed. Yeah, so it's like they are going through a new strand of reality because they've gone back and they're choosing a different path in a way. So I think the moment that it snaps back, where it's like you have then replaced it, that's where all the memory comes crashing in, but it's a dead memory because it used to exist on a timeline, but it's snapped back into like the current reality. It's complicated. Look, it's not supposed to be easy. That's what's so amazing about it, I think. Jay Buntrock said, I thought the Kurt Vonnegut quote used at the beginning of book 5 explained it quite well. Now, I'm not supposed to legally play any audio book, but for the sake of this conversation, if I can even get it. Oh, you're kidding. It reset the entire book because I finished it. Don't tell me I have to download it all again. It's in your life.
I was just going to say, it seems like, Vaden, you're kind of assuming that a person's individual timeline or timeline of memories doesn't intersect with anyone else's. But it literally has to, because, yes, like you and I have different perspectives on this exact moment, but we both remember what's happening the same way, right?
We don't know that.
So our timelines have to intersect.
We don't have to remember each other the same thing at all. Like we can completely remember the same event in completely different terms. People do it all the time. I don't see how that would.
Perspectives are different. Actually, that's what Feminine Fig says in the comments as well. I liked the science, but the hardest part for me is that it assumes everyone can remember things exactly how they happened. So you're right. There isn't enough room for variables of being like, you and I remember very different things. And the further the memory goes back, obviously the waftier it's going to be. I don't know about you guys. I didn't eat seafood for a very long time. What is it? Fish oil? What is that? Omega? My omega count's so bad. And I'm pretty sure that directly correlates to being able to remember things. And so I can't, like if someone goes, tell me a memory on April 16th, 2018. I'd be like, I have no idea. So if
it would have to be, there's a specific reason they point out specifically traumatic memories, right? Like it had to be the memory of Barry's daughter dying because it was incredibly traumatic to him personally. It had to be the memory when they were testing it with the drug addict. It had to be the memory of him getting the tattoo because he had to experience that pain to imprint, essentially. It's not any memory because like I couldn't tell you what I had for breakfast a week ago, right? But I can tell you exactly what happened the day I broke my arm.
Yeah.
Right? So it has to be some kind of trauma typically or something drastic that imprints on
which
the person.
is more factual. Like this is the chain of events that happened, not this is how I felt per se. Like, you know, there was an argument, there was a fight, and I felt slighted and I felt like I was right. And the other person goes, no, I was right. So I think we're steering clear of sort of like perspective, the variables of like feeling pertaining the chain of events. But I think when it's like my daughter stepped in front of a car and was killed, like that's what happened.
Yeah.
Avery says, with the exception of our current moment of consciousness, we have no way to prove that everything that has ever happened to us ever actually happened. Memory exists solely in our heads. Well, no, there's devices to capture memory. So a photograph will take that sliver of time. Recording moments, you can record that particular moment in time. So you can see I rode a bike in my backyard holding a purple teddy. Whatever
and that's
that is.
What they're doing.
Yeah.
Is they're taking a photograph and then they send you back into when that picture was taken. And that's
Jeff,
I even said it in the
thoughts?
table.
Yeah. So one thing I'll say is I think they sort of. I'm on actually the side that I don't like the science of it, but
Saw that.
Against that, I will say they take care of some of the stuff where when Barry goes back, there are parts of the memory that he encoded to go back that he doesn't remember. Like the part where his daughter turns around and says, something. I can't even remember what she says, but he's like, oh, I didn't. Like he consciously realizes, oh, I didn't even remember that, but it's part of the memory that he encoded. So I think perception is not the issue because I don't think that the book presupposes that you have an eidetic memory of that moment. It just, there is a moment that you can go back to. You can pick out this moment on this date and say, I remember this particular thing happening. Not necessarily all of the specifics, but it seems to want more specifics. And there was some sort of grading score in the book.
It was, yeah.
And so the more you remembered, the better, but you didn't have to remember everything.
Yes, I did like that moment where it was like he couldn't remember the last thing that she said to him. And it was something like, okay, dad, or yeah, dad, or something like that. It was like so menial that was a part that he never grasped onto. So when it did replay from that moment, I think when he recognized, oh, this is the last thing she's ever said to me, and I couldn't even remember. Like I didn't even know that. It was a really heart-wrenching moment. I think it's so well done. Shislith says, do their brains like twist up or something when the new memories come in? That could be cool. Actually, yes. They'll have a sharp pain almost like behind their eye and a nosebleed as your brain is just onslaughted with a massive memories from a dead timeline. That's where events did play out. And then are thrust upon you in one singular moment. And that's probably like the biggest consequence that it's having on people when you are given that amount of memories of a life that you technically lived but then didn't live at all. And the amount of memories, like you have to figure out if brains are able to even hold the capacity of that amount of memory coming in so fast. But yeah, it does have a physical impact on you big time. I'm glad you're here, Matthew. I hope your day gets better. I was disappointed that the bend didn't factor into the story more. What do you mean by that, Jay Buntrock? The bend?
That was the nickname for the building, right? That started it all. The architect goes back and he builds that cool building that curves up at the top. I just thought that'd be really neat for something.
That was the triggering event to make the false memory syndrome global.
Yeah. I was just hoping they'd go back to it.
Yeah, no, that was more of like your catalyst event where it's like it wasn't contained anymore. So when Slade privatized the chair, I thought it was really interesting. He would use it as a manipulation device. It was like, right, I can hold this carrot over you. I know that there's this one moment that you wish you could redo. I will give you that power for a cost. He's monetized the ability to be able to do that. And there's an architect who regretted not making this architectural design. There were caveats. There were specific rules. Do not tell anyone that you've got access to this. Do not tell everyone big events. Don't shift massive things. Tiny droplet turns into tidal waves, like minimize movements. Just fix that one thing that you want to fix. And he broke that rule by literally designing and building and creating a structure that didn't exist. And then all of a sudden the memory jumps into place and there's a giant structure, like this giant building, and then everyone all goes, what is this? Oh wait, I've actually been up there. We had dinner there for an anniversary. We've done all these things. What a mind fuck. And so that's like the first time where it's impacted a city all at once instead of a community. And I thought that was an interesting thing because he's like, this isn't going to hurt anyone. It's just a building. Who cares? And you're like, you really can't fuck with anything. Susie says, by the way, Maude, how the puppy? Puppy's there. There she is. She's chilling, doing her thing. She had DINNER. I'm just reading the comments. Sorry, there was a lot of conversation and I want to get in there. Robin says it isn't just traumatic. Helena's memory as a teenager wasn't traumatic. Oh, sorry. Robin's talking about the memory you can go back to. It does not have to be traumatic. It just has to be heightened. So I think she recognized Helena wanted to try and go back as far as possible so she could manipulate the rest of her life. It turns out that going back further wasn't the answer. It's finding the dead memory, which I thought was really interesting. do I think it's believable that they wouldn't have thought of that in 4 different iterations of 33 years?
That was my one problem with the science, is if you remember all the dead memories, including dying, because Megan
You would go
remembers
back into that.
dying, right? How does
Yeah.
Helena not remember that she figured out how to go into a dead memory before she died? How did she not remember that?
Slade undid that, and that was the whole concept of it. So he picked a point before she figured that out, but went into a dead memory, so that was erased. And so he'd figured that out, and he realized that he basically had the keys to wiping all dead memories.
I must have
but he
missed
kept
that
with him.
particular detail
Got
then.
it.
'Cause I was like,
Yeah.
how did she not figure that out?
Well, by that stage, it was a little convoluted, but because she knew he killed her.
Right.
He's killed her multiple times, though. He kills her when she gets in the way or when she doesn't need him anymore. But she had figured out the big breakthrough that was accessing it, going into the dead memory. And then when he did that, he realized, because he kept all his memories, but he realized that she no longer had any consciousness of it, which that was the key.
So Slade went back and erased that memory of her knowing that
By
it
going into
worked,
the
but she had a memory of it not working multiple times before, so that's why I think they didn't try it again.
Right.
Yeah, that must have been it. Yeah. I mean, I had other issues with some of the science, but
and so when it
Well,
finally
she-
did work,
I
that was
on
erased.
board with.
She still had the memory of Reed going back into a dead memory, so that's probably what she thought why it wouldn't work.
It's complicated. Hey, Kate, thank you so much for 36 months with your Prime. I appreciate it. That's fine if a person in question is going back in time. One person's memory doesn't change others. For example, if I get hit in the head and lose memories, other people will still remember the events regardless of my own, says Vaden. You're really trying to find a loophole with this, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that you've thought about this a lot.
I don't think there's much of a loophole.
I think when it's an instance, like how you remember or what you remember is irrelevant. Like as long as you can pinpoint sort of that moment and then it plays out from that moment in real time.
Well, yeah, because you could look at a photograph and remember it's like, no, I was wearing my like green pants, but in the picture you're wearing blue pants. Just because you remember green pants doesn't mean you were wearing green pants. You were wearing blue pants.
Avery says, on topic of photographs though, Maude, if someone changed something in the past, wouldn't the photographs change to reflect that? Yes. And I think that that's like that example of like the, holy hell, there's a whole new building here. What is it doing here? I've never been in it. Actually, yes, I have. It's that thing. So once it resets, all of a sudden the live timeline is active. So you'll have a memory of what the previous photo looked like, and that's a dead memory. So it'll be black and white sort of in your head. And then the new photo will be there. So, I mean, even think of Barry's living room. He wouldn't have had any photos of Megan after 16. Now she's like gone into adulthood. And so like the whole living room looked different. Their situation was different. Susie says, I'm not going to lie. I never trusted Slade on anything. Number one, his name is Slade. Point to a good guy whose name is Slade. Ever. Slade is a villain name. You are not supposed to trust him. Helena Smith. Canvas, beige. Lovely. Barry Sutton, sturdy, great. Slade, evil. So I agree with you, Susie. I like that it was Slade. I'm like, yeah, this guy's shady AF. And we found out. And I actually do think he's an interesting character as well. He started off as an addict. He was Helena's assistant. So he was like a bottom feeder. He was not someone important. He was just conniving enough to be able to push her out of the picture and then take control of the technology. And he's gone back in time several lifetimes. So by the time we meet Helena, who's working for this mysterious organization, who's got butt tons of money, that's because he's gone back and he's continually getting data and information to play his cards from a young age so he can just increase his wealth time and time again. He's manipulating the stock markets. We saw that in the last chapter with Barry. So that was his game plan all along. He was going to study all the stock markets. That's what Helena did as well, to like, I can predict what's going to be big. So I put that money down in 20 years, like we're set. So it was an interesting way that he became a villain. How did he use a chair? For individual gain and for control, to get Barry. If I give you what you want, hopefully you'll, stay out of my hair. And he made millions and trillions and whatever dollars. He made stupid bank because he wanted power. Is he the kind of person who should have the chair? Not once, not ever. It's interesting to see how people perceive or want to use this technology. And I think that that's a great conversation to have. Is there an ethical way to use the chair? At one stage, someone thought that there was. And this was Dr. Shaw, who's working for like a black ops-ish organization under the government, where had free reign to fly under the scope and essentially become the boogeyman. So anytime that there was mainly sort of a murderer, someone doing despicable crimes and kind of hit enough of a kill count to be a threat and to be a problem, knowing that they were never going to change, it's going to keep happening, and they hurt children, right, we can go back to the time before the crime and eradicate. Very Minority Report, stop the crime before it happens. I kind of got that chapter from right at the end with Slade. I'm here about a murder that hasn't happened yet. You're like, ooh, pre-crime. I do like the thought of good intentions behind it. But Helena the whole time going, no, destroy it. No good can come from this. Absolutely not. Stop doing it. She had the most experience with that chair at that time because she'd gone back so much, so she's lived a lot longer. The second in this book where someone above Dr. Shaw's head said, yeah, but we need to use it for this because now it's like a warfare kind of threshold where we don't want Russia to get information about our Boeing, which means that they'll have technology that they can use. As soon as it gets to that level, the snowballing that happens, it was trickling and then it just goes. And that was the moment I felt personally that like anxiety hit in. Because when it was controlled and maintained, it was viable and it was stoppable. Like you could stop it. As soon as it got to that level, within about 5 minutes, a terrorist organization had access to it and was using it, and then immediately it became nuclear warfare because someone thought that America had access to that technology and was keeping it from everyone else, and it was weaponized, and then game over. But the speed in which it turned to shit was so scary. So the question really is, do you think that this sort of technology could ever be used in an ethical way? Who wants to tackle that one? Tim says
Not
no.
even a little bit.
Lisa says no.
When was the
Ben's
last time
shaking his
technology
head.
was used ethically?
Well, I mean, Andy Weir had that conversation. He was kind of like, everything that can be made for bad can also be for good. If we didn't have he gave the analogy about if we didn't have the atomic bomb, we wouldn't have technology that saved lives. It's just, it really does depend who's in charge of it. But there's always going to be someone who feels it's more important, and then it takes it to a warfare level. Like, I just don't think it could ever, if you have the impact, you have the power to impact sort of like time. It's a
Yeah,
weapon.
I mean, if you can change your reality for literally everyone in the universe anytime you want to, as much as you want to, then yeah, there's no vague way that it can be ethical. Like it will inevitably cause catastrophic consequences.
It's literally like Helena said in the book. It's playing God.
It is.
And there's no human. If you believe in God, there's no human that's ever going to be ethical enough to play God in a way that's beneficial for everyone.
I even in those moments in the chapters where it was like, they would pick and choose who they would save. So it was like, oh well, there was a train heist, or it was like a natural disaster, and they're like, well, it doesn't really adhere to A, B, and C, so we're not going to touch that, but we are going to do this one. And it's like, so you really are deciding who gets to live and who gets to die. And I think that there is a point right at the end when it's Barry who has all of the memories, because it was poor Helena who had to carry that the whole time and then reconvince Barry to join her on the venture. But when he kind of has the understanding and he goes back and he fixes the whole thing, he has this really clear moment. And I think it's Blake Crouch directly talking to us, the reader. And it's so clear. He goes, we cannot stop pain from existing. Pain needs to happen. Pain is a beautiful thing because it meant that we loved, or there was a capacity for love. But he was like, we cannot play God. We cannot pick, choose, and decide who experiences pain and who doesn't. If we start correcting any amount of pain that we get and we stop having pain as a feeling or an experience, then what does that do as well? Like, it throws everything out of balance. Bad shit needs to happen. And I think that that's a very difficult conversation for some, especially because some people have worse stories, worse situations. Like, the worst thing that happened to me is nowhere near the worst thing that's happening to someone who was born into poverty, who has abusive parents. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so it's just such a, it's very, very philosophical, very rich for conversation. But I think the message is, if you can fix it, you still shouldn't. And that's going to be very, very difficult for some people. If you're altruistic and you recognize that you can change famine, or you can change an event that, cost millions of lives. Like in our current political state, if we could stop a war from happening, we've had 2 in the last year. If we could stop those from happening, would we do that? I think collectively we'd all be like, yes, absolutely stop those wars. A war is nonsensical for so many reasons, and the people that suffer the most are the children. Why wouldn't we want to protect the children if we can? And it's like, because it just ripples, and it's for the children. Yeah. How's anyone going to sit here being like, I don't know, I'm okay with innocent kids dying. It's fine. I mean, it has to happen. Ugh. But when the end of the world comes, exactly. And I feel like the greater good is always such
Greater good.
Thank you, Lise. It's I think a really good narrative or a really good purpose for villains, because they're not wrong a lot of the time. They truly do believe that this is the better thing. No one gets to decide what the better thing is. Is anyone else head hurting a little bit from that? Osiris says it's Fifth Element type society. Non-registered citizens don't last long. Ugh. Should some die so the rest can live? That's a very big trope in disasters and tragedies. Daniel says that's something I never realized. Corbin Dallas Modpass. Old Steve Rogers let 9/11 happen. Apparently Eric Voss said that on New Rockstars. Straight up trolley problem. What's a trolley problem?
There's 5 people tied to a track, and the train's going towards it, and then there's a junction with 1 person tied to the track that you care about deeply, and you have the choice between running over the 5 or running over the 1.
That's the thing. And it's like, well, that's actually what I appreciated with the DARPA, the secret sort of agency that were trying to be as ethical as possible. And they said you cannot use this for your own means.
Maude, you know DARPA does exist, right?
I did. I looked it up.
Okay.
I looked it up.
I just wanted to make sure.
But they called it something else. It was like the Department to Fix Bad Shit or something.
Yeah, they had their own acronym for the group inside DARPA,
yeah. Yeah. Fix bad shit. Whatever it was. K Frito says you just derailed the train. Yeah, why is someone gonna die? Why does that have to be the only option?
Okay, Kobayashi Maru.
Why don't you just take away gravity for a bit?
Yeah, but there's
how many people are on the train?
Yeah, how many people are on the train?
It could be like deadly chemicals, and when you derail it, it kills an entire town.
Oh my god. Yeah. Gosh. And this is the thing where it's like, it comes up in superhero storytelling a lot, where it's like your biases, like the people that you love, obviously you want to protect more than anyone else. So it's like, ugh. Only Slade is on the train, says Jay Buntrock. Get rid of the train. Would you say Slade is inherently evil because he's been given multiple lifetimes to gain a conscience, to better himself, to better the world, and all he's done is line his pockets and monetize.
I don't think he's evil, but I don't think he's good. I think he's neutral at best.
Chris is saying, who was an addict before, is his addiction now time travel? Has it just manifested in a different way?
I think he's evil because he only gives up the answer to Barry once he realizes the nuclear strikes are real, so he knows he's gonna die.
But he also, at that point in time, like
he could have reset as well, and he
all
never
of
did.
the stuff that he did regarding the time travel, he never did. Right? When Barry finds Slade, right, and whatever, he had never done all of the stuff that they said he did.
Yes. No, you're right. Because they went back to the OG before he'd done it. But the train of events,
So he's still up to something because he has the sports almanac. So he is doing something.
No, he's prepping. He's prepping for it to happen. He's got the gun that he killed Helena with. He was gonna kill freaking Barry when he realized he was caught out. He was gonna kill him. Barry's smart. Did he do it for the money? He did it for power.
No, I guess I'm talking about when Slade gave Barry the answer on how to fix it, right? It was he hadn't done all of the stuff that he did, but he remembered it as dead memories, right? So it's not necessarily that like Slade on the original timeline is probably evil. Slade on one of the last few timelines is probably not evil because he's just this burnout drug addict. And then Slade in the final timeline, when Barry goes back to stop him from killing Helena, is the same Slade from the original timeline.
Mm-hmm.
The final Slade still tries to shoot Barry in the back.
Right. And yeah, because he knew he was busted.
That's pretty evil.
I mean, evil, but again, like I said, Slade from one timeline is evil. Slade from many, many of the other timelines is probably not.
Hold on, but Slade was the only one that had
evil.
Slade was the only one who's had the information to go back from when the world was going to shit. He
but how
had
was he
the information. He had the fucking chair, did he not? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, he didn't. He did. He didn't because
once Helena starts going back over
once Helena starts going back, Slade doesn't have any of that knowledge until the world goes to shit.
And then he remembers on the April.
So he can't do anything. So he's trapped in his own torture.
He can't do dick about it. He's just a burnout drug addict for however many loops Helena made.
So he could have reached out to Barry and Helena when he got the memories.
I feel
like
right, but there wouldn't have been enough time to do anything about it.
Right. So it was got it. Oh my god. That was so visceral as well when like Barry's literally given up and he's going to end it all. And then this memory seeps in and he's like, oh my God.
It was weird how that little bit took like 6 months to kick in.
Well, at this stage, how many times have they done it? Like the memories have compounded so much.
Well, they've done it a bunch, and he did mention that like every single time it took longer for all of the dead memories to come back. But it was weird that that one particular thing took such a gap, right? Because there was like...
In a way, yes, but it also was like the very last thing he would have remembered from the very last of many lifetimes.
Yes,
so if
but how
came back in order,
for the apocalypse. So he had to wait until the apocalypse and then a little bit after for it to kick in.
Right, but
they were in Antarctica and they were so far away from everything that he wasn't even really paying attention to the news.
Yeah, it was still occurring at the same time.
The physical distance from the event affects the length of time it takes for the dead memory to return?
That's the
I don't think it was.
The amount of times they've done it, I think, has a little bit of because it's got to like coalesce.
It does because they
together. But
they make a point of that. What I'm saying is that one
wasn't
sentence.
6 months though.
That one sentence, it was because he even talks about how he
said his wife died 6 months early.
Right, but then he talks about how the world ended and then he didn't do anything about it for a really long time. And he was just like, well, I'm just going to go die. But it wasn't immediate.
No, because he's in Antarctica.
Later.
They mentioned that, how
My
the world's
eyes
ending, but
twitching.
he's in Antarctica, so it doesn't look like anything.
My eyes
It was still
twitching.
occurring at the same time. He was just in Antarctica.
Oh.
I don't know. It seemed like the way it was written to me, it seemed like it had been weeks since the quote-unquote end of the world that final memory came back. And I thought it was weird that one thing took weeks when everything else took maybe hours.
I, at this point in the book, was happy being spoon-fed. What was actuality? I had no questions. I wasn't going to debate anything. I was like, if you say so, Mr. Crouch, it is law. It is factual.
Well,
I'm glad we can all have these discussions. I just can't participate.
What happened is that the chair actually worked in reverse of what Helena wanted it to at first. It was to fix Alzheimer's. That's why she wanted to create this chair. Without the time travel stuff, she wanted it to fill in the gaps of memories of people with Alzheimer's. But what ended up happening, especially at the end with Barry and Antarctica, is when you've lived that many lifetimes, they have too many memories. So it's like the reverse of Alzheimer's. It's like it's melting their brain, but instead of having like those gaps, there's too much to parse through. So they're in the same, it's like, what timeline's real? So it's the same, the other side of the Alzheimer's coin.
Yeah,
also,
because
it is
every
6
single
months
day
later.
has like 7 days that you've experienced with a different life. Yeah, that's wild.
Also, it is 6
How was
months
your
later
18th
that he has
birthday?
that
Which
memory.
time? Yeah. Whoa.
But I also
Too much
find it
data for
interesting.
our
It's like,
brain.
I was going to say before this other discussion started that I don't know if Slade is necessarily like good or evil. He's just, I think that 80% of humanity would use the chair in the way he did. He is distilled humanity, like distilled human selfishness. And I think most people would use the chair the same way he did, where it's like keep going back to amass wealth and power.
Okay, let's ask.
It's like,
all right, everyone,
most
you
people,
have access
it's like,
to a
if you
chair.
could go back 4 hours, it's like everyone would be like, oh, I'd want to know the lottery numbers. It's like, that's what
They would
most
be
people
different every
would
time.
do.
No, they'd be different every time.
But you know what I mean, though.
Would they, though?
Most people would do the exact same thing that Slade is doing.
If I go back knowing the lottery numbers and it causes me to buy a ticket at a different day, time, place than I normally would have, I have changed the air currents of the earth. My position on the earth changes the gravitational field. Yes, it is minute, but you never know what it takes to make that ball flip this way instead of that way. You just don't know.
Most people do not give a shit about that, though. They only care about themselves. So, like, they're not going to care that it's going to, like, the smallest. It's like, the thing with if you travel back in time, don't step on anything with Homer and the toaster. Like, they don't care about that. They care about me.
Yeah. Okay, you're allowed to go back to one particular bit of time, knowing that the further you go back, the more you're going to fuck with shit. What's everyone going to do? What is your purpose? Why are you using the chair? I want everyone in the comments. I want to read them all out. Let's find out if 80% of us are greedy, average people, because that's what we are.
Except that most people aren't.
No one's going to be like, I would be bad.
I mean, I'm not going back. Yeah. I'm not going back with the lotto numbers, but I'm definitely going back to when I was like 15 or 16 and telling myself to invest in Apple. Like, take all the money you get from graduating high school and invest in Apple.
That's what Slade did.
That's what I would do.
Really quickly, 100%. Shay Sage and the Divine Hermit King, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Maude's Book Club. We're talking about Recursion. Probably that name in another timeline. Recursion by Blake Crouch. Essentially, we're talking about time travel. Let's say you have access to what's called the memory chair, and you're allowed to go in there and zip back into a previous memory and relive everything, knowing that the more changes you make, the more the ripple effect is going to impact other people, and the more a chain of events could absolutely be worse than what you've already lived, whilst trying to make it better. So, majority of people knowing that Apple's great stock to make bank on, invest in computers in the 90s, you know, all that kind of stuff. What would you realistically do if given another chance? How far back would you go? I think I'd only go back to like 2016, 2017. I don't think I'd go too far back. I really liked life up until then. And then I went freelance and life got a little tricky for me. So mine's career based. And I'd probably give one relationship another shot. A little bit longer. But that's it. Like, they're my major things. My parents are still alive. Like, maybe I'd get a dog earlier. I don't know. But it wouldn't be Zelda. But I want Zelda. You see what I mean? Like, oh my God. All right. Who wants to go next? What are you doing? Robin's is career based. But if you change that, then you don't meet your husband. Oh, see? See? Anything can happen where it's like you make one change. Everyone got real quiet real quick. What are we doing in the chair? Where are we going? What are you changing?
I'm making myself rich and then I degaff about the chair.
How is making yourself rich going to impact and change your life?
It's not. Not really. But the thing is like everybody says money can't buy happiness, but money can buy a lot of things that will make me happy. Right?
Buy peace of mind.
Like it can buy peace of mind. It can buy experiences that I'll enjoy and remember forever. It can buy all, you know, it can't buy happiness, but it can buy things that will make me happy.
It might attract a very shallow person who's so manipulative that she swindles you. Wants
I already
to
had
marry
that.
You.
I already had that when I didn't have any money, so
you could do it. It could always be worse. It could always get worse.
I'm just saying. I'll make myself rich and then not care about the chair after that.
You have to put DMT into your brain and literally become paralyzed and you can't breathe.
No, your brain puts DMT into you.
Your brain puts
the
DMT
DMT's
into
already
you,
there.
And then you're paralyzed by a paralyzing agent, which means that you can't even breathe, and so you basically slowly suffocate and die. You do that for a few mil?
If I invest in Amazon and Apple early enough, it's more than a few mil.
But then that changes so many things. Like, that's not just a little tiny tweak. That is a massive change. So much
Money
of your
is
life
finite.
as you currently know it.
Money is finite. If you get money, who loses it? Whose life did you affect by you getting rich?
I don't care.
I know you don't care, but it could affect millions.
That makes you pretty evil, dude. If you don't care who that's impacting.
Makes me neutral.
We got a Slade in the house. Got it. Okay, great. Daniel says, I wouldn't really change anything in my line except for choosing to spend more time with people and have more memories. I like that. There's people who I've absolutely gave a chance to that I should not have, and I've been burned. But is it worth going back to right that wrong, knowing that it could impact infinity other things worse? No. Kate says, I wouldn't go back. Stop. No, you're already evil. It's okay. It's okay.
Think about all the good I could do with billions of dollars should I choose to. Right?
You ruined everything when
a
slight ethical question was brought into this, and you said you didn't care.
I'm saying I don't care who doesn't get rich. I don't. I want everybody to be rich.
Do you care who it impacts?
My point is.
Okay, Tim would go back in the chair and rewind it 3 minutes.
There's a lot of good I could do with money, right?
I care.
I could donate.
No, we had the first answer.
I could donate 222 subs to Maude's Book Club every month.
So my life would be impacted. How does that change my life? Get out of here.
For the better.
Get out of here. No, I got to pay more tax on that. What if I'm then arrested for tax fraud? Oh my God, because I didn't know. I've never had that much money before. It could happen.
There's just a ton of things I could do with money.
That's the thing. It's an endless snowball of things that could either get better but could also get worse.
Kate,
all right,
I saw that comment.
I'm reading it. I'm reading one now. Kate said it's okay. We're bringing this back. Kate said I wouldn't go back.
No, he saw my comment when I was roasting him. That's a different comment.
I'll read it out in a bit. Kate initially said I wouldn't go back. There's a lot of bad things that I went through in my life, really bad things, but I also know that stuff would get too fucked up and the smallest change would change everything. I'm also self-aware enough to know that I would use it badly. Okay, there you go. That's a healthy awareness on things like that. I think we could all have good intentions, but if it's like if you're not super altruistic and like have mapped out how it could affect and impact every single person, and it's just kind of umbrellaed with I don't care, I mean, it's just going to get real bad real quick. The idea of being able to have that power at the tip of my fingers, and I could go back and hurt someone who hurt me over and over and over again. Okay, this is borderline maniacal. I'm here for it because we don't have that technology and it's kind of fun to joke about, but there is some darkness inside of you, Kate.
I know. That's why I am self-aware enough to know I can't be trusted with power.
Yeah, she's like, don't give me it. Don't give me it. Would you make my life better, Kate?
No, I think I'd end up making everyone's life worse.
Aww. Accidentally, not on purpose.
I don't know.
Okay. We'll ponder about that one. Feminine Fig says, I wouldn't risk not having my kids. So I wouldn't want to go back too far. That's the thing. This is the implications. That's what it's twitching again. This is what Robin was saying. Like I'd change a career move and then I would never meet my husband. Like the impact that it has. KB Dub says, nope, I changed nothing. I will not risk my relationship with my kids today. Avery says, maybe because I'm still in my mid-20s, but I actually can't think of anything I'd want to go back to. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, envy. It just popped its little head up there. Wouldn't that be lovely? By my mid-20s, would I have anything? No, no, I'd probably want to ruin someone's day for sure. But at the cost of like having to end me, no. It's too much risk. You know how risky that is? It could go wrong. I don't think my spite is worth ending everything accidentally. K Frito says, no changes for me. Anything can happen. Could always be worse. Shislif is on your page, Tim. Hey, money buys you security. There's a sense of safety there. And T-Bone says, true, you can give money to other people too. All right, people are on Team Tim. Vaden says, if I changed something I really cared about, it'd be many years ago and I'd never gotten to know this community. Aww. So nope. Tay says, I honestly wouldn't know what to change. I don't think I'd go back at all because I don't think I would make a difference to the things that are important to me anyway. Chris says, self-interest is an inborn survival trait for humans. That said, we enlighten ourselves via intelligence and can overrule and sacrifice. Heavy dubs! DMT would make a good AC/DC song. DMT. You're dying tonight. Okay, no, that's not good.
Take a lap. Take a lap.
Okay, I'm in a dress today. Don't mind me.
To be fair, Jay Buttrock just wants to go back and drink Crystal Pepsi, so it takes all times.
See, I kind of think that that's it's not really going to impact. You'd be like, really? That's it? Okay. And then just make the exact same decisions with everything. Anyway. No, see, if you had the knowledge of the future and there was a big NBA playoffs or whatever sports shit that people are into and you know the outcome, you'd be like, I'm gonna put a cheeky grand on knowing that it's gonna win, you know? Like, there's no way you'd be like, I cannot tempt fate. Damn it, I just became that person as well. I'm in the 80%. 80% of people are gonna bet on something just to make a little extra cash.
Welcome to the people using the chair for personal gain. It's a great club.
How would you not? I mean, I wouldn't bet on sport because I don't know the outcome. If someone was like, you've lived this before, who won? I'd be like, I swear to God, I have no idea. I have zero idea who won.
You could bet on your softball game on
I still can't remember which games I've won and which ones I haven't. I think we've won 3 times out of 6 games, maybe. I don't know. I really, no idea. I can pretend to be selfish and say I'd go back and fix some medical stuff in my own childhood. You can pretend to be selfish. Wait, if you're pretending, then you wouldn't do it. I guess this is all pretend. It's like, that's the point. This is the exact moment that Jeff realized that he's smarter than me. Oh, have fun in Moore's Book Club. Catch equals Slade, says Jay Buntrock. Toast Post says, it's taken so long for me to learn how to navigate this world. I would go back with this knowledge and learn who I am and what I want. The biggest appeal for this for me is being able to live my life time and time again. And it's like, cool, this the iteration of my life, I'm going to stay in Australia the whole time and focus on my family. What does my life look like? Cool. I get to play that out. Right. Now I get to be career focused. Now I get to, put all my eggs in what love looks like and making that the priority. And
You would just loop until your brain rots.
I just think it'd be so cool to live multiple lifetimes in one life and retaining those memories for it. Like that sounds so cool.
Yeah, like that part is the fun part. Like if it was you were detached from it, like a video game, you can actually play those life choices out, but it was only in your mind and you weren't actually affecting, everyone else in the universe. That'd be cool. I'd love to do that just to see how things would go. But like once you start affecting the people, all the barriers are gone.
Also, you won't remember all the different choices until you catch up to the moment you got in the chair.
Hold on.
Well, and knowing when you go back, you remember your past, but it's sort of dead memories. But I might be tempted to, if I knew that I could erase all the dead memories from other people ever being affected the way that Barry does at the very end. I might want to just live my own alternate timeline once or twice just to see how things were. But
there's an interesting.
Of course, that would change. So maybe I wouldn't do this. But in thinking now, I'd be like, I'd live this life, but then I'd go back and reset it, and everything would be the way it was, and no one would be the wiser. But it would change me in the process. So I don't think I would even do that.
Make a series of decisions and then be like, actually, the third one was the best route. I'm going to take that one. That's a lot like holding your fingers in a choose your own adventure book.
Yeah, that's how you read those.
You also have to risk the fact that you have to kill yourself every time to do this. There's a chance that it won't work and your body won't release the DMT in time before brain death.
Yeah. I don't think it really played on the risk enough with that.
Fun fact that it's like metaphorically for this book, people who have had near-death experiences sometimes have trouble with watches and technology because of the electromagnetism released in their bodies.
That's really interesting. I guess because you go, Jeff.
It's Groundhog Day, right? Like it's try it again and again until you get it right, and then you keep going.
There is a moment in this where it was literally like respawning. That moment where, the lab is on level 16. They've got to go up the elevator. The door's open. They got shot. Nope, let's try again. Respawn. All right, now we know the enemy's here, here, and here. I thought that was so cool. Like that is freaking cool. It is a video game in a sense. I actually kind of wish, Kate, you made a really great point with like highlighting and emphasizing the risk involved in going back. I wish we saw more implications of that, especially when it was in the DARPA sort of Black Ops area of trying to use it as ethically as possible and having the best soldiers tasked to do this. And if one of them died because they did nothing different, it's just this particular instance, they'd gone back twice already, and there was a delay in the release of DMT. And it's like, all right, so there's another ethical conversation and discussion to have. You know the risks that when you use it, but like seeing the consequences of fucking with this sort of technology over and over again. I wish we had a little bit more of that, because by the last sort of like by book 5, it just became a little bit too convenient to be like, whoop, now I'm going back again. Oh, okay, I'm landing in this part. Whoop, and we go back again. It's like we lose sort of the risk involved in it all. If you are just tuning in the last sort of half an hour or so, I just want to do another trigger warning. We are talking about a book that does delve in a lot of heavy emotions and suicide and needing to end your life to be retransported back into a memory previously. So we are talking about a very sensitive thing for some people. So I just wanted to give a heads up for that. Avery said you can't go back earlier than 16 because your brain's not sort of capable enough to take on those changes. Meaning I can't go back anywhere before 2016, and that's when the world went to shit. So there's no point in me going back. We don't even know if this is the darkest timeline. Probably not. We'd probably be hit by an asteroid and we'll be dead already, yeah? Darren
that
says
would be
there's
a better
definitely
timeline than this.
Not funny. I don't know. Right, wrong.
I don't know. Between meteor timeline and couch fucker timeline, I don't know. Oh, kind of suck.
What's that?
Oh, Vice President candidate Congressman Couchfucker Vance.
Oh, I'd rather not know. Is that okay? Can I opt out of this? Can I opt
Let's
out of
just
knowing?
not.
I love
Let's just not.
sometimes ignorance is bliss. And once you know, you can't unknow. So I just think
So
I know
Team
I would rather not know.
Meteor.
Don't you dare
Team
tell me.
Meteor.
Can I just say at least
I don't do
one
American
time
politics.
the reset shouldn't have worked?
Yeah, go on.
So when they're in Denver, right? And the nukes go off and they
Yeah.
race down in and they're so close to
bunker.
ground zero that their skin is melting off like a bad DiGiorno pizza. And then they go into the lab and she uses her phone's Bluetooth and flashlight to get into the lab. And I'm like, fucking no. Because if they're that close to a nuke going off, EMP cooks all of their electronics. They never get into the lab. They never reset. That's game over.
Got it. Okay. So
that was the one science thing that I was really mad about. I was like, that's not going to happen. That phone is fragged. It's bricked.
That
One
absolutely
thing too, I
just
just
stripped off
thought
me like
of
Teflon. Yeah.
that if you kept using the chair, like, you know how like organs and stuff would like run out from overuse. So that many times releasing a bunch of DMT, you'd like your body would, because it's your same body, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
wouldn't
it's the
it
same
just
body
end
every
up
time.
burning out? So there should have been some sort of like, you know, you can't do the chair anymore. You've done it too many times, or you'll just like flat out die. Like they didn't bring that up at all.
Yeah, Slade's memory started going funky. He recognized he couldn't go back anymore because he'd done it too many times.
I think you'd eventually get desensitized to the DMT release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
it either wouldn't be enough DMT to trigger,
they put it
or
in
it
like
would
LSD
just
or
flat out
whatever.
release.
So you get resistance to drugs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was my thing, is you probably get a resistance to the DMT. You get a new body every time, so
it's a new body, but it's the same brain because memories live in the brain. Yeah, that's interesting. I'd love to learn more about that. Darren has said there's definitely major life choices that I've had that I'd be interested to know what would have happened if I made them, but I don't regret those decisions. Yeah, like should I open the left door or the right door? You know, like did I choose right? I've always said that when we were talking about, because I no longer want the superpower to manipulate other people, even though it's not really manipulating, it's mind control, but whatever. Apparently you can't use that well. I would love the superpower of like every time I made a decision, I could just kind of see in the future and see how it mapped out and be like, is that what I want? Is that the good decision? Okay, what does this one look like? Oh, that's nicer. I want that.
But would you end up getting choice paralysis and end up just like going insane from it?
One way to find out. Let me check. Oh, I would. Cool. Now I know. Like, I don't know. That's just, it's exciting. Vanessa would go back. Vanessa would absolutely go back. Katie, you'd go back to 2020. Oh, my heart. This is the thing. Would you help someone stay alive? If you could, if you were given that chance. A lot of the time it's like, would you go back for yourself to make your life better? Would you go back to like save someone else? Like what is worth going back? Matthew says, honestly, at 19, I don't think there would be a good ethical reason to do it. You're 19? Avery, we got someone younger. 19. You were born the year I graduated high school.
I was just saying my high school diploma is older than Avery.
What?
My high school diploma is older than Avery.
I think mine is too.
Woohoo! And that's on unique perspectives. And we love that here at Maude's Book Club. Lisa says, but Maude, you're in your late 20s. Oh, my bad. Yes, I am. Late 20s, baby. So, different mind.
In dog years?
Oh my god, you didn't have to say that.
Those fighting words.
You didn't have to say that. You don't punch, but when you do, it is a gut punch, Kate.
That's why I can't be trusted with the chair.
That's it. No one's giving you the chair. No one's giving you the chair. Hold on. You're in your late 20s, so different than your mid-20s. You probably haven't changed much in the past 2 years. Okay, Lisa wins. I'll give you the chair, Lisa. You get one chance to go back now. Baz says, these scars made us who we are. We're not meant to go back and fix them. Batfleck. Maude would be an amazing reviewer if she's seen all movies for the last 40 years. I don't think I would do it to consume media. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Maybe it would be cool. I don't have enough
Interesting.
time
Why
to read all the
watch
books.
Star
It's
Wars for
fine.
the first time.
Oh, you could go back and watch things for the first time. That's cool. No, you couldn't.
Read a book
because you
for
would
the first time
know
again?
that you already did it.
That's
You would
true.
know you already did it. I'm just catching up in the chat. But let's get a little bit heavy for about 5 minutes. And that is CT Bones. Do you think if you were abruptly and quickly embedded with, like, let's say 8 years of another life you never had, it's as if you'd lived them, they felt incredibly real. Maybe you had a slightly different life. Maybe it was a vastly different life. Like Anna in the beginning of the book, she was married and had a son. And when these memories came in, she had lived a completely different life and then was snapped back into the life where she currently was in. She wasn't married. She didn't have a child. She was single, and she had something to compare her life to that was in essence taken away from her because it was never real to begin with, but she'd lived it. How do you think you would cope? Would you be able to differentiate and be like, that memory is not real, it didn't happen? Or would it be a clusterhead fuck of being like, that actually did happen, but someone decided that it wasn't true anymore? Or could you put that logic behind it? Is it like, wow, I'm having these false memories of something that never happened. I'm able to compartmentalize and rationalize that I didn't have a son, that I wasn't married, and I'm able to kind of focus on my life as it is, as it's tangible in front of me. Maybe married life sounds good. Maybe I wish I'd had kids, or, having an understanding of a life.
I think it would absolutely, like Daniel Darkley said, it would depend on what the memories were. I mean, if it was incredibly different, then it would probably be very hard to justify. If
Tim,
it were
all of a sudden, you've got
similar-
memories of this life where you had
right. But what if it was similar to the life I'm living
dollars.
now? If it's similar to the life I'm living now, you could chalk
No,
it up
you're
to
a
maybe
billionaire.
you
You're a
didn't
billionaire
remember it correctly.
in this memory.
The point is, if it was incredibly different, it'd probably be hard to justify. It would be akin to multiple personality disorder.
Yeah. Baz says I cannot compartmentalize. My mind is primordial soup. The whole point of this book is that the reality is only made of memories. So even if it didn't happen, it was a reality. It was an actual reality. You would always have the ghost of this other life, whether it was close to the current life or very different. Yeah, it lives a ghost in your memories.
Yeah, you would be haunted because you would always be 2 moments every moment.
And that was always the issue with this. It's like, no matter what. Oh, hello, Dorian the Critic. Thank you for joining us. We're chatting about this sci-fi book, Recursion by Blake Crouch, which is great sci-fi, but also ouch. I think having it closer to your current time would actually mess with your head more, says Darren, because it's closer to reality and you can't suspend the disbelief of it being so vastly different.
It'd be a lot harder to differentiate which one was the current and which one was the dead. I feel like you'd go back and forth between which one is where, but if they're so different, you'd be like, oh, they would feel more distinct than two that are very, very similar.
I only disagree with that because you're not going to have 2 sets of memories going forward from that point, right? Like, you're going to have 2 sets of memories of the past leading up to a specific point in time, but if you can keep going from that point in time, you're only going to remember what happens after that point. You won't have a dead memory of something that happened after you
So you're
gained
saying
these
that
secondary
nothing
memories.
that happens in your past dictates who you are today?
No, I think it does, but that's why I'm saying if the dead memories that you gain are similar, or your life that you remember is similar to the life you're living, I don't think it would be as hard to go on, simply because from that point on, you're still only going to have 1 set of memories. If you remember being a mother of 3 and a loving wife and all of this, and then wake up one morning and you suddenly remember that, but it's just you and Zelda, that's incredibly different, right? It might be hard to move on from that. Whereas
Or is it
if
the
you
best
wake up,
thing
if you
ever?
wake up
Because the
and you
grass is
remember your
always
life as
greener.
Zelda being a cat, it might not be that difficult. Is all
What
I'm
if
saying.
my kids were little shits and my husband
Then you
did
might
my
fucking
head in and I
celebrate.
was begging for a divorce, and then I wake up
You
and
might
this is
you
my
might
life, and
celebrate
I'm like,
not having it. See, that's the thing. It really depends on what that other life is
but
or
it's the thing
was.
of not knowing. Like, what if it's better? What if I like Anne? Anne's
But
like, I had
the
a
thing is,
child.
I think Anne knows. I think Anne knows what reality is. She's having a hard time compartmentalizing the memories
She
that she
preferred the old
has
life.
of her old life to the life she is living now. Right? She's having that issue. But I think
No,
she
but her
knows. I think she knows inherently that reality is she's a single woman. She misses the life that she never lived. Right?
But it was a reality. It was a reality.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point of this dead memory. It was a reality that actually existed up until this point where it's all changed.
Yes. But what I'm saying
That
is,
would be wild if I had 3 children
what I'm saying is, if you,
and they're just
like you said, if
gone.
if
I never
if
had
you remember a life where your husband was an absolute shit and your kids were assholes, you may remember that, but you're not gonna miss that life, right? Because you
I
would say,
still think if I
arguably,
were a
maybe you
mother
would,
and I had 3 little shit kids, I would still love them unconditionally
or
and would be devastated
maybe you
if they were
weren't.
just zapped out of
Maybe you were.
existence.
Maybe you were just married. You weren't a mother, but your husband was a dick, right? You might not
I wouldn't be
miss
with
that
him.
life, right? I'm just
Do
saying,
you
you
know
might not
nothing
miss
about
that
me?
life. Maud, I'm just making a statement. I'm not saying it's actual. What I'm
It would
saying is
never
you might
happen.
not miss that life, right? Right? You might not miss that life. So you could probably go on
Well,
pretty
let's
easily.
use the example of what if I actually did die 10 years ago, and that's a dead memory.
See, that'd be tough. Is remembering dying would be tough to go on from. Because like Megan was like, I'm not supposed to be here.
I'm not
That'd be
supposed to
hard.
be here.
That'd be hard to
Yeah.
adjust.
And
Probably
that's
the
the thing.
ultimate.
Like, instead of being like, I'm so lucky, I've been given another chance. I still have my family. I still have like my life. Like, would you feel so grateful that you were given another chance, or would you feel like you didn't belong because the system? Yeah. Oh,
That
Or
would
here's
take
another
years
interesting
of
thought
therapy to unpack.
experiment that if you were in a good life and the dead memories or the ghost memories were bad memories, like what if you lived in this life and everything was perfect, and then in your other timeline you're the parent of like Eric Harris or Dylan Klebold,
Right.
and it's like you have to remember that your kid shot up a high school in another timeline, and you have to like live with it even though it didn't technically exist. So every time you look at your kid, you're seeing a
question
monster in
me.
another timeline, even though in this timeline they didn't do it.
Oh, and I would blame myself because I would feel responsible personally for that. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't feel like I could be trusted as a person.
This chair is a financial boon for therapists.
That is one way to look at it.
Psychologists are
Disco
making
Cobra's
so
in the
much
house.
fucking money.
Hi, Disco Cobra. Thank you for following again 3 minutes ago, and you've just gifted 5 subs. Rapture got 1. Shayera Hawk, Teflon Paladin, in Maude we trust, and Eddie11 all got gifted a sub. Thanks to Disco Cobra. 2013. Disco said, I'm here for the games, and I still managed to talk books. Sorry about that. But tomorrow, 10 minutes still, I'll still plug it. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a gaming stream right here, twitch.tv/Maude Garrett, from 3 until 6. If you are a Patreon member in the Game On tiers, we play games together. We do community streams, and we've been playing a bit of Stardew lately. Actually, KP Dubs, have you been with your Stardew venture? Where are you up to now in your game?
Oh, it's terrible. I play like 30 hours a day. I'm not sure how I'm doing it. Maybe I'm going back and doing memories so I can play more days, but somehow I'm doing it.
You used it for Stardew. Yeah, intervention's absolutely imminent. If you do want to join our little farm, we're halfway through spring at the moment, and tomorrow we're going to try and finish spring as a season. But we're also doing a wonderful giveaway. I'm teaming up with Alienware. We're going to be doing 2 big giveaways. One's going to be an Alienware monitor. The other one is going to be a keyboard and mouse situation, little duo. We're going to be giving those away. If I can ask and implore everyone to help support St. Jude's, which is cancer research. So we're going to try and raise as much money as we can for St. Jude's. And entries will go in to win some Alienware gear, which is going to be pretty cool. And also, if you are a part of Game On, we're going to be community streaming together. And because it's a charity stream, we've got to watch our P's and Q's, okay? Me included. Me included. Matthew says, Maude, would you go to a timeline where Hayden Christensen would you go?
The editor, where Hayden Christensen was your husband.
Oh, thank you. Maude, would you go to a timeline when... Do you think that that's a viable timeline? Where would we have met? I met him... You know what? I actually met him at Celebration last year, and I don't know if he's with anyone. He's certainly not married.
I think he's married.
Is he married?
I think he is. I think he is.
Did he get remarried? Someone has to tell me right now if Hayden Christensen got remarried. This is going to be really mean.
Oracle.
But I saw Ewan McGregor and I saw Hayden Christensen, and current Maude thinks that Ewan has won the yummy lottery. And he's married.
Wikipedia just says he's divorced, not remarried.
Yeah, he was with Rachel Bilson from like 2008 to 2. Don't tell me I'm right. I don't want to know if I'm right.
2007 to 2017.
10 years together.
You would have to fight Rachel for Ewan McGregor, though.
There's no way. Yeah, this is the thing. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I could still marry him now. What if this is the timeline, Matthew? What if this?
You and Rachel keep using the chair against each other to marry Ewan McGregor.
What if I marry Rachel? Hey, no one saw that coming. Rachel, call me. Wait, she was with Bill Hader. She was with Bill Hader for a bit. How do I know all this dumb shit? I don't know who fucked a couch. Thank God.
Yeah,
but I know who's married. I don't want to know that. Don't anyone ever tell me. Yes, Ewan McGregor is married to Ramona from Scott Pilgrim. Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Yeah, they're married. 2007. I don't even know what that means. Put it in the calendar, 3 till 6 tomorrow, charity stream. If you want to play in Stardew Farms with me, join a Game On tier on Patreon. If you already have, 3 till 6, put it in the calendar, guys. If you're feeling a little bit generous and you want to get in the running to win some Alienware gear, we'll be donating to St. Jude. Details will be in the chat. We are going to hoe so hard tomorrow. Ho hoes, we sure are. We've got to do the rest of the community center stuff. Vaden, you're on the fishing rod. We're gonna get some fish.
Are we for sure doing 3 hours of Stardew?
Yeah.
I might just.
I don't know if you noticed, but one time I played for like 6 hours and didn't blink.
I get that. Notice. I'm just saying I might not use my Game On perks and just hang out in the chat.
Yeah. I mean, that is technically one of the Game On perks, just hanging out in the chat.
No, I meant like the Twitch chat.
Oh.
Because there's no point in me being in the Discord call listening to you guys talk about what you're doing in Stardew when I'm just not going to play it.
That you will not have anything to talk. You will not
have
anything to talk about.
The last time you guys played Stardew, I think I said 8 words the whole time.
But you'll still be in the chat. This week. I think we're wrapping up Stardew. We're gonna do spring, but we've got no blinking, Dorian. It won't be the same without you. We are also figuring out upcoming games to play together. Baz wants to play Helldivers. Maddie wants to play Minecraft. I really don't want to play Minecraft. Is she there?
I think we should play Halo. We should 100%
I wouldn't mind playing some Halo.
A private Halo match where we just pit the club against each other.
We're gonna do a one-shot D&D as well.
That would be fun too.
Yeah, how about this? Tomorrow they play Stardew, you and me 1v1 in Halo. How about that?
1v1 in Halo.
That's so cool. In the same chat. Go left, go left. Past the waterfall. I don't know. Day by Daylight, but the DVD version. One shot, one kill. Overwatch. I really want to play Overwatch. In fact,
I'd be down for Overwatch.
Yeah, get started, get playing. I'm quite good, and if you're gonna bring my team down,
I'll get very mad. Is it still free to play? I'll download it.
It is still free to play. Seriously, get
Okay.
started now with your characters. I am at. How do I find out how long I've played Overwatch?
If you have on Steam, you can check to see.
Very
how-
important question, Maude. Do you play competitive Overwatch or just quick play?
Do I play competitive? Are you kidding me?
Oh no.
Mod's hardcore. Mod's hardcore with her Overwatch. One last thing about Recursion. This
Shied
book
away
is.
from competition.
Hey, one last thing about Recursion. This book is basically Sphere by Michael Crichton.
I mean, I like Michael Crichton because he's an actual scientist. So when he writes science, it's great.
It's the whole basis of the book is you've been granted the ability to alter reality. Don't fuck it up. Oh, you fucked it up. Good luck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's exactly what Sphere is too. The same book.
Stop it, Blizzard. I'm in BlizzNet. How would it not say? Why does it not say how long I've played?
If you open the game, it'll tell you. You can look in like the
I have
statistics.
to open the game.
Yeah, you can look in there. It'll tell
It's
you.
updating, and it needs to restart. I think it's in the 400 hours. I think it's in the 6. I think it's in the 600. Between 400 and 600 hours, I played this game.
I can't say anything. I've got like 4 weeks
So
of
if you could
time in Call of
start
Duty.
practicing now, because if you're a dead weight, I will yell at you.
I can sit in DC and cheer you guys on for Overwatch. I can't play though.
Mod, I'm so used to being yelled at by you at this point. It's just in one ear, out
Doesn't
the
even
other.
matter.
It's water off a duck's back.
It's 3 a.m. where Matthew is. Yeah, but Matthew, you're young. You can handle 3 a.m. Are you kidding me? Look at me. It's 6:58 and I'm already disheveled and hungry and tired. Alright, get training on Overwatch. Homework. We are starting a new book. We're reading book 5 of the Dresden Files. It's called Death Masks. Masks, plural. Death Masks. Death Masks, because 5 and 5. 5 and 5. Get to that. And then the 5th season, we'll be tackling that the second half of this month. Part 1 and Part 2, I believe, are on the 22nd and the 28th of August. We've got a little bit of time in the middle there. We will be doing community gaming streams in that down week, which will be a lot of fun.
Chocolate! Chocolate! Chocolate!
Do I need more chocolate? I don't have teeth. I don't have my back teeth, so I can't eat. I technically shouldn't be eating solids. Say that to the 3 Tim Tams I've had. But yeah, I shouldn't be eating solids because there's just like holes in my mouth waiting for food to get trapped in. The 5th season and the 5th Dresden book. Yes. Fun. But it's not the 5th month. It's August. Oh. I also saw a video saying that Pisces is going to have the best second half of the year. So I'm so excited because that has to be true. Yay. So to all my Pisces, let's get some wins for the rest of the year. So exciting. We should raid. Who are we going to raid into? I'm hungry. Who are we going to raid into?
Same.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Avery's like, oh, good. Let's go, Pisces. Let's go, Pisces. Who are we going to raid? Who are we going to raid? Anyone? Anyone?
I got nothing.
There's Balian's on and Blue is on, or David Blue. There's also Gen Con Live.
Yeah, Balian is on.
What's she playing? Thank goodness you're here to watch me play. Thanks, Tay. There is no one. We should. We don't have to. We don't have to. See, I don't have decision. What did you call it? Choice fatigue? I could just not.
You mean like analysis paralysis or something else?
Yeah, I could just.
Choice paralysis.
I could just leave it. I don't really get phased. We're all good. All right, bye everyone. Have a good night. Happy reading. Let's read more books.